All right, everybody, it's 7:30 by my computer. So let's get underway. Welcome again to the Zones 33 and 34 Zoom call for Friday, May the 15th. Delighted to see 113 participants on the call, and the number is rising. We've got another great program for you today. I think we've done the check pain exercise, SAT pain exercise. I think we know where everybody's from. So without any further ado, let me pass over the microphone to Director Stephanie. Stephanie, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Peter. Good morning and good evening and good afternoon, folks. Today we have a very special cameo guest that it's my honor to introduce. John Hugo is our General Secretary and CEO of Rotary International and our Rotary Foundation. That's a position he's held for about the past 10 years. From 2004 to 2009, John was the Vice President for Operations and Compact Development for the Millennium Challenge Corporation, a U.S. government agency established to deliver foreign aid to the world's poorest countries. John holds a law degree, a master's in modern history, and an undergraduate degree in government and Soviet studies. He speaks 4 languages besides English, and those are Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, and Ukrainian. John is a member of the Rotary Club of Kiev, Ukraine, and he and his wife Marga live in Evanston and are major donors to the Rotary Foundation. John, it's great to have you with us. Please, the screen is now yours.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thanks for the opportunity to be here at this 33 and this zone's 33, 34 and more Friday meeting. Great to see that past President Raja Saboo is going to be with you today. And Raja, our best wishes to you and to all the Rotarians in India. Peter, Kyle, also good to see you, Peter as well, and a lot of other very, very familiar faces on the screen. I just really wanted to, first of all, make 3 quick comments. One is to really thank the Rotarians in this district for all that you're doing in this very difficult time. I've been extraordinarily impressed as I go around the world virtually over the past 2 months to see how Rotarians are now connected in some ways more than ever, and how truly in the face of this crisis, as an organization, we have really stepped up to make a difference in our communities, in our countries, in our regions, in the face of this very, very tragic and difficult time. So thank you all for everything that you do. I had two quick comments in addition to that, this one. One, in every, we're facing some very difficult times, there's no question about it. But in every crisis, very often one sees a silver lining. And I think for Rotary, this is such a moment. We're seeing now with this move to sort of the new normal that clubs and districts and Rotarians are becoming much more creative, much more innovative, embracing technology in a way that we never did before. One of the big pushes within the organization that started with the 2016 council was to really give clubs much more flexibility in fashioning and designing the sort of product that we're offering to the marketplace. As you know, our membership has been flat for the last 25 years, and it's only because we've seen significant growth in membership in Asia. We're seeing significant declines in North America, the UK, Australia, New Zealand. And so particularly in those markets where membership has been struggling, and North America is one of them, the ability now to fashion a new product line or a slightly different product line to perhaps be more attractive to the marketplace that we're trying to penetrate is a good thing. And I think we have reached a crossroads in our organization where I'm seeing a cultural shift, an even further enthusiasm to embrace innovation, to do things in a new way. And so I think we need to be saluted for that. And then the second point really is, the world needs Rotary now more than ever. Rotary in some ways was built for moments such as this. Deep roots in almost every community in the world. I like to say there's not a politician in the world that doesn't have a Rotarian as a constituent. I sort of harken back to those of you who are hockey fans, and I'm a hockey fanatic. If you remember the movie Miracle on Ice, with the United States Olympics and Lake Placid, and Herb Brooks, the coach, stands up and says, "This is our moment. This is our moment." And I think this is Rotary's moment. This is our moment to continue to do the great work that we do, and to even take it to a different level. We were built for moments such as this. So thank you very much for having me. Delighted to be able to pop in and say hello. Wish all of you all the best. Stay safe, and looking forward to a time when we can get back to getting together in person. But in the meantime, this is our moment. We were made for moments such as this. Thank you for all that you're doing. Thanks, Stephanie.
Oh, you're welcome, John. Thank you so much. Отлично. And for those of you who don't speak Russian, that means excellent. So now I'm going to turn it over to Director David, who is going to introduce our very special program. David.
Thank you so much, Director Stephanie. It's so great to be with all of you this morning. We have about 145 people on the call, approaching that 141. We're so excited to have you here, but we're especially excited to have a dear friend zooming in all the way from Chandigarh, India, past president of Rotary International, Raja Saboo. Raja was president of Rotary in 1991-92, and as you can see, or you may know, his theme for the year was "Look Beyond Yourself," a theme certainly befitting of past President Raja and his lovely wife, Usha. Many of you may have been in Norfolk with us in 2018 when Raja came in, Usha, and represented President Barry. So many people in the southern states and the islands, Raja, we love you, buddy. Raja was a major leader in the earlier eradication of polio in India, long before the world expected, and he's graciously agreed to come speak with us today to speak about Rotary's lead in this amazingly successful initiative, along with its ongoing efforts in annual National Immunization Days, which Kim and I and many of you have participated in. Please join me in a virtual clapping welcome for past President Raja. Raja?
Thank you, David, for your very kind words. And I'm extremely happy to be here with you, with Stephanie, and all the participants here. And greetings from India, from Chandigarh, which is 5 p.m., just past 5 p.m. And you are having your breakfast, and we are having our afternoon tea. I just want to and I would like to also thank John Hugo for his kind words, what we heard. I am very happy to be here in zone 33, 34. And I know that there are the Rotarians, they are current, the past and incoming RI general officers. So this is the zone 33, 34 is a very, very important and very significant the area. And I know that this is a home of many past presidents, about 8 or 9. But I would like to think in terms of the 3 past presidents, particularly. One is Jim Bomar, who was one of the 2 role models for me. And then the next one was Bill Skelton from Blacksburg and Virginia, and he was my mentor. And the third one was outstanding person, Chuck Keller. And Chuck Keller was one person who, at his convention, 1988, he announced the first Rotary collection for the polio eradication program. So these are the 3 people we think of, and I want to think of one more person. And I would like to dedicate this presentation to him, and that is Bill Sargent. Because Bill Sargent was one person who uh, did not know anything about polio. He did not want to be a chairman of the International Polio Plus Committee. And it was 1993 when the International Polio Plus Committee was formed. You can't believe that until then, we did not have any committee. On the drop of a hat, we will have a committee. But when we were spending millions after millions, we did not have any committee. Hugh Archer was the president, and he chose Bill Sargent. And Bill Sargent refused for that. He was requested again. He refused. And finally, Hugh Archer said, it is the order of the chairman of the Foundation trustees, and he accepted. And just imagine, for him, for Bill Sargent, polio eradication became a passion. So this is just the beginning. And I'm so happy that I am thinking of this this zone, two zones. Recently, we were in Atlanta for the convention, and at that convention, John Germ was the president, and we were celebrating 100 years of the Rotary Foundation. And also Robert Hall and Charlie, they had organized beautifully the lunch reception, lunch reception hosted by Mrs. Birla. And Mrs. Birla by now has, I think, given about $14 or $15 million towards polio eradication worldwide. So and then the icing of the cake was I and Usha were invited by President Barry Racine to represent at Norfolk for the institute. That institute was one of the best for the many institutes I have attended, because we learned from that. And I want to compliment once again David and Kim. Let me come back now to the story of polio. But before I do that, I would like to once again say I am privileged and humbled to be here this evening or this morning. It's very interesting that without spending any money, we are able to meet and teach and see each other and are able to also hear and even interact together. Now, when we talk of the polio story, and before we come to the India factor, we've got to understand that how did it start? It was 1977, Sir Clem Renouf, when he got nominated as president of Rotary International, he was reading Reader's Digest, and then he saw that polio, that smallpox was eradicated just 2 years back. And he said, was there any possibility that Rotary can take up any other disease to be eradicated? He consulted many health authorities, and it was realized that the only possibility would be to have eradication of polio, because that has the killer, the very big killer, and that is a measurable goal. So this is how it started. But then it was not easy. because that is a story in itself. Clem Renoff realized that he cannot take up this program because of the structure of Rotary. And the structure was that each club can do the project within itself. And this required a bigger one. And that is why he thought of 3H, health, hunger, and humanity. And with that, he started, but there was so much of resistance from the voices from the past. And I was part of that scenario, what was happening. And the past presidents of Rotary International were against that. And I remember that even though this program was approved by the board in 1981-82, but the resistance against this health, hunger, humanity was taken to the COL, Council of Legislation, and then also it was defeated there by the old voices. Then in 1983, at the convention, which was, I believe, Toronto, and there also some of the very, very strong past presidents, they were opposing it. And this was the final nail on the voices from the past. They did not recognize that in 1979, the polio was tested, the polio immunization in Philippines when Jim Bomar was there. So with all successes that we have achieved, and yet there was the resistance. But anyway, that was the final decision. And this is actually the change maker of Rotary, because that opened the way of taking up major and large projects. So my friends, this is how it started. And now let me come to the how it started, came to India. 1985, until this period, nothing was done. But 1985, when President was Carlos Canseco of Rotary International, and he was friend with Dr. Albert Sabin. They went to WHO asking for their support or being together. And that was, it was not a very pleasant meeting because Albert Sabin wanted only polio, and WHO wanted, no, we cannot take just polio. Anyway, that was the time Polio Plus was born, and the plus was polio would be taken up by Rotary, and plus will be taken up by WHO, UNICEF, CDC, and this is how, and that would be meaning all other diseases that could be prevented by immunization. So this is how it started. And then the collection started, and instead of $120 million, which was considered to be the, which was supposed to be the budget, or which would be the requirement for immunizing the children of the world, Rotary collected 240 millions. And just imagine where we are. We have spent billions of dollars. But we have made a progress. We have shown the world that Rotary can do it. So this is how it started. And 1988 was the World Health Assembly, which took a resolution unanimously by all the countries of the world that they would take polio eradication as a priority. India was one of them. So 1988, it came to India, and India, they had always thinking in terms the bureaucracy. I suppose bureaucracy is anywhere in the world, any government, they have their own way. And the bureaucracy in India, they started working on their own way. They rejected the process of the National Immunization Day, and they thought that they would be able to reinvent the wheel. It continued, and nothing happened. There was not much progress. And then was the time that Rotary came with the political advocacy. And I want to refer to one person, Sudarshan Agarwal. He was a past director, a senior leader, and he was also the general secretary of the upper house of the parliament. So he had the connection, how we can get about it. So what happened was that it continued around 1 or 2 years, and we started working on this strategy. And that strategy was that we get through Mr. Agarwal, we would have the questions raised in the parliament as to what was happening. And it was in 1991, 92. I was not in India, I was in Evanston as president of Rotary International. But at that time, it just happened that the health minister, he resigned of health minister of India, and the Prime Minister Narasimha Rao, he took up that portfolio temporarily. And at that time, the questions were raised. And Sudarshan was able to work with some of the senior officers in the ministry, health ministry, and got the note which the Prime Minister announced as an answer to the parliament, that we are making some changes in our policy. Although he did not say about NID, but they said, we are going to change the procedure. And this was the beginning. And what happened then, that through the political diplomacy and advocacy and diplomacy, we were able to work through the system. And that is how we were able to, and by the time I returned from Evanston, after completing my term as a president, and we started thinking as to how we go further. And in the meantime, we were able to get in touch with Dr. Harshvardhan, who is the current health minister, and he was at that time, he was the health minister of the state of Delhi. And this way, we were able to see how we can go forward. And on 2nd October of 1994, there was the day when Dr. Harshvardhan, he announced that he would be having the, he called it not national NID, but he called it as a polio pulse. And they said, we are going to have the whole Delhi state immunized for all the children. And he made Rotary a very strong partner. This is how it started. And that was the day when there was an epidemic of plague in Gujarat, northwest. And it was threatening to come to Delhi. And yet, should we do? Should we not do? And as we are now having masks, at that time, we all decided we will put the mask and we will do it, and we did it. That was the first success. And what that happened, then what happened, we started thinking that Delhi has been successful. How can we spread it through the whole country? And in the whole country, we were able to talk to the different states, and those states which were ruled by the party that was in the center. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yes, you're okay, Raja.
Okay, all right. So what happened was that at that time, so those were aligned to the center or which were in power, we would tell them that, look, the other party, the Harshvardhan's party, they have succeeded. So they are going to do that. And all the others, those states will get the credit. So, and so that diplomacy, we were able to get all these states agree. And we had a meeting of all the health ministers of the country. This was initiated by Rotary. And this is when they adopted the policy that, yes, we will go with NID. And thereafter, every year, the NID was inaugurated by the Prime Minister. This is how we started. It is a long, long story, but I'm trying to condense it in order to be able to let you know that how we were able to do it, and the political uh, advocacy, we were able to have all the political parties which were in power in the center, to consider polio eradication as the priority. In the beginning, the whole amount of the vaccines was supplied by Rotary Foundation, including also the staffing of UNICEF and WHO. But then we started working also how we can get the government in the driving seat. Unless we do that, we will not achieve the success. We were able to succeed in that. But then we had yet another problem. And that problem was the resistance from the minority, the Muslim section, which is significant in India, how we can get them on together on our side. Because the rest of the India was doing well. But there are two states, UP and Bihar, and they were the Waterloo for us. And we did the polio corrective surgeries and all other activities in order to get them on. We were able to get the ulemas, and with the polio corrective surgeries and all those activities, they were convinced that Rotary is friend. Government, probably they would not touch. So because of Rotary, we were able to get these people, and that from their mosques, they were able to announce, and we were able to move on. this is how we were able to achieve the, I remember that it was 2011 when we had the last case of last case of the polio in 13 January 2011 in West Bengal of a 2-year-old Ruksar. In 2012, Government of India and India Rotary organized a polio summit in which we had the president of the country who came. And I remember that Bruce Aylward, he came just that very morning. And he showed a letter from the Director General of WHO saying that India has been 1 year without any active polio virus. And so India has achieved at least the first step. 2 years next, where just keeping it up. And in 2014, we were able to reach on 27th of March 2014, when India became polio free. I know that India was being considered that if India does not become polio free, and the chances are that it will not, then the program of eradicating polio from the world will go away. That will disappear. That will be dream, will be will be forgotten. But then when India became polio free, that hope came back. Yes, the world can be polio free, and we are very, very close to that. And I am hoping that Pakistan and Afghanistan will join us. Thank you very much.
Raja, thank you so much for being with us today. We are very honored and humbled to have you with us. We have a few questions in the chat box. If you wouldn't mind, would you mind taking a few questions? Raja, can you take a couple?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so,
if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, I have a few for you from the chat box. Can you tell us briefly about the COVID-19 situation in India? Are you under restrictions, and where are we now in India with COVID-19?
Say that again.
Where do we stand with COVID-19 in India? Are you still on lockdown? What is the situation there?
No, I'm not able to understand.
What is the situation with COVID-19 in India now?
Yes, the health situation in India right now?
Yes, yes.
Is that what you are asking?
Yes, with COVID-19.
Are you talking in reference to the COVID?
Yes, sir. With COVID-19, what is the situation in India now?
In India, we are all locked down, and we have been getting 2 weeks, and it was I think on Sunday we will be the lockdown is going to be decided by the Prime Minister as to how we are going to go. But I think we are very positive. I'm very positive. Even at my age, I feel that the technology that we have, and with what we have the availability of medical science, we will get the vaccine. We will get also the treatment. It will take time. Like any other virus, this will also be there. But we will continue. And right now, it may be that we are for the for a short period, we are putting polio eradication as a back burner. But our task of polio-free world will continue.
Okay. Here in North America, Raja, it's estimated that we have about 2 million polio survivors. Is there an estimate of how many polio survivors there are in India?
Do you mean polio virus?
Polio survivors, people who have survived polio in India. Is there an estimate?
There are the survivors of polio, you mean?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we have, but very, very few. Very few.
Okay.
And we are also taking care of those who are polio stricken and with the polio corrective surgery, whatever we can do.
Very good, very good. We so appreciate having you with us today, Raja. Thank you so very much. Back to you, Stephanie.
All right, I'm going to just share with everybody some information about our upcoming programs. You know, on Monday, we'll be meeting again at noon Eastern time, and we'll have a cameo appearance by Mary Beth Brownie Celine, who is a past director and past trustee. And our guest speaker will once again be past President Raja, and this presentation will be recorded from today's meeting. Now, please note that the following weekend we'll be celebrating the U.S. holiday Memorial Day, so we will not have a call on Friday, May 22nd or Monday, May 25th. No call. But when we return on May 29th, Friday, May 29th, our program will be Dr. Carol Pandek, Polio Plus Director for Rotary International, and she'll share with us information about polio and the pandemic. And now, Peter, I'll turn it over to you for our close.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Raja, for a fascinating presentation. And thanks also to John Hugo, another great meeting. As is customary, please now mute yourselves if David hasn't already muted you, and join.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks, Raja. Great to see you and great to have you. And please join us as we recite the four-way test. Of all the things we think, say, and do,
Is it
one.
The truth.
Fair to all
Yeah.
will and better friendship
Goodwill and
better
better
friendships
to all
beneficial to all concerned.
Goodbye, everybody.
And
Have a
have
great
fun.
week.